back to DM-Nastics, the gym for dungeon masters to work out their minds. I'm one of your hosts, DM Celeste, aka Sea Witch.
And I'm your other host, DM Neil, aka Jote Moniac. Celeste, would you like to go on an adventure with me?
Always, anytime, Neil. You just say the word. I have a backpack right here, ready to go.
I have a satchel. Indiana Jones also has a satchel.
That's fancy.
So, one of the ideas that I came up with is that I feel like we've gotten away from doing some more of the community-based world building for Dayeimbe. And it's one of the things where, twofold, obviously it's super cool to build something together. The other thing is these are super practical things that every DM is bound to face. Be it your players go into a village you weren't fully prepared for, they zig when you thought they were going to zag.
Go on a shopping trip, you all of a sudden have to make up 20 businesses. Yeah. Familiar.
So, super quickly, if someone doesn't know what the style of gaming that West Marches is, basically you have an open world, and more often than not, you have more than your standard size of players. If everyone showed up, chaos would ensue.
Yep.
But if 6 people get together, and let's say I'm one of the 6, I'm the party leader, and I go to Celeste, I say, hey, do you mind being the DM for this? We would like to go on this adventure. And so it's a very open, sandboxy style. What I thought we could do is have a Dayeimbe march, which is looking at the giant map of the collective world we have built through the podcast called Dayeimbe. Yes, it is just me saying DMB, very weird. Okay. But if I say it with confidence, it sounds real.
Yeah.
And so I picked a point on the map, and specifically a village called Lycille Village, and I created an exercise.
Nice.
So what questions did we ask in our latest DM-Nastics exercise?
Yeah, so this one here was all about making NPCs, which, as you said, a very, very common thing that DMs or GMs have to spend a lot of time doing. So we had some questions here as we focused in on this village on the map and kind of gave some perspective of like, what's around the village? What kind of environments are here? But we had 4 questions for you. So 1, what does this NPC contribute to the village? 2, what is their appearance? 3, what brought them to the village? And 4, of course, you do you. We got a bunch of entries, too. This was super exciting.
Yes. So we may choose the same one.
I chose 2 just in case. Okay. Just in case we pick the same one, because that happens a lot.
Yes. So I would like to choose the entry by Patty Cakes.
That was one of mine. Of course
it
was.
Listen.
Of course it was.
So in number 2, the very end. Okay, well, we'll get there. Never mind. I'm so excited. I don't want to jump in. Okay, hold on. So they say this Kenku, which I also really like this approach because it's not specifically naming them.
Right.
It is really just saying like this
there is a Kenku. Yeah, here.
Yeah, you can
like, there's a crow person. Deal with it. Yeah.
Basically, this Kenku does random jobs that anyone might need, and basically the just Kenku about town, just whatever is odd jobs here, there, and everywhere. But basically anything for coin, food, or lodging. So, and they wear a cloak made of an unfamiliar material. Upon closer inspection, though, one can see that it is made of a reddish bark processed in an unfamiliar way and tightly woven. They also wear a large hat with a huge brim made of woven reeds. And this is the point at which I can choose no other entry because it is, think Robin Hood's disguise for the archery competition.
I was thinking we needed to at least call that out because it's one of my favorite Disney movies of all time.
Absolutely. So it's a deep cut in a way. It is presented in a way that if you know, you know. And if you don't, you don't. Because it is the Disney version where Robin Hood is a literal fox.
Yeah.
And growing up, I only babysat one set of children. It is the children of the person who originally got me into D&D. And every time I would go to their house, I would say, would you guys like to watch a movie? And they would say yes. And every single time, it was a Oodalolly.
Oodalolly!
This movie.
That's a fine choice, though. Time. Oh, that is a fine choice. Those children were set up.
So I've watched this movie. I mean, it's up there as potentially the movie that I have watched the most times in my life. And now that I am far removed from it, I do have a very in the mix of it. I
hated it. Yeah, that was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah,
but distance, time and fondness.
So now it is a movie I love. I love rewatching. But yes, that immediately
incredible.
All in.
Incredible.
But yes, rumors that as to why they're here is that some think that they're waiting for their adventuring party. Some think that they're spying for someone else. And some think that they're there to stop some sort of huge event. But the You Do You section, it
so
says the
sweet.
Kinku is busy building vocabulary so that they can actually help negotiate a land deal for their people.
Yeah, it's just a sweet little bird person. So good.
Which, like, speaks back to number one as to why they're probably taking all these jobs and doing all these other things, because then it increases the vocabulary that...
Yeah, their vocabulary. They can talk about the various jobs and things and communicate that more effectively.
And I also think, patty cakes, well done, because again, this is the kind of stuff you would see legitimately in like a produced material.
Yes.
Because number 4 is like really key to me, because number 4 immediately makes all of the other ones make sense.
Yes.
Because now you have the motivation of the character. Now I know what to do all the time.
Yeah.
Because I can always use that as like the guiding light. No, don't forget, this NPC is building their vocabulary so that they can negotiate a land deal for their people.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
It's simple. Yeah, we get it. We get what they're about. I think, the draw a lot and the challenge a lot of DMs run into is designing characters that are so mysterious without really thinking about it. And this is doing it right. It's mysterious to everybody else, but their purpose to them is so clear. And the moment you discover that, it's so clear to your player characters as well, and instantly, relatable. So well done, patty cakes. I'm also, I don't think we've highlighted one of your answers before recently. So good to have you here. You're awesome. I'm going to put a little crow emoji on this too, as I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Nice. I threw a D20 emoji out.
Yeah, D20 and a crow.
Perfect.
Also love crow
I'll
people.
add a crow too. Done.
Yay! Those are from us,
so,
patty cakes. Increasing your murder.
So now the question is, so which of these entries, sorry for stealing, but which of these other entries would you like to highlight?
It's okay. This is why I picked 2, because I don't know if you guys know this, listeners, but Neil and I are actually the same person, just secretly in different places. So it's always the same
spot.
Yeah, it's always the same. So for this one, okay, I have one for my pick, and then I have another bonus one that I need to highlight towards the end. But my Sword Spear, long time fan, great fan of your stuff. You always have great posts. But this one, another banger here. So talking about, so the NPC here is Ms. Violet Vensdaughter, which is already just a great name. Just a great Regency proper lady name. Skilled, knowledgeable school teacher who just showed up. So she's there now, and she's responsible for all of the children in the village, took it on herself to build this school with her assistant, her mysterious assistant, who also showed up, called Mrs. Crumb, which is also another great name for a school teacher. And so their appearance, they're basically what you would expect, just older women who properly dressed, just look very prim, proper, wear a lot of long gloves and big hats and such. And what brought them to the village was basically we needed teachers. And then all of a sudden, these 2 extremely qualified individuals showed up. And it all comes together in number 4, which is when we're talking about these 2 people are leading these lives and helping a village. But the whole thing is they actually are a vampire and a familiar cat, transformed into a human form, specifically here to fly under the radar because they were part of a cult that did not work out. And I was like, whoa, just the turn of that. And of course it makes a lot of sense. A vampire, lots of knowledge, lived a long time, doing their thing, right? And settling in this quiet little village. And a special bonus point here too for the fact that the vampire isn't actually here to do anything or hurt anyone. They just really are genuinely here to kind of contribute and carve out this little life for themselves to be safe after escaping from an evil cult thing that was really into vampirism and undeadness. So that's amazing. So yeah, I like this last sentence in particular. They do not mean the villagers any harm, but will use mental magic to protect their secrets.
That was my favorite too.
I know. I was like, yep.
I'm not going to kill you, but I will rewrite your brain to make sure.
Yeah. If you come for me, I will rewrite my brain so I can stay here as school marm in this and like responsible for teaching all your children all the things I've known, which feels like a really good use of immortality. You know, like in vampire stories, you're always like, why are you just doing that? All the silly things vampires do, but actually putting that forward to like teach children and individuals and like history, and that's very cool idea, Sword and Spear.
I feel like it also would lend itself really well to the idea of existing.
Yeah.
Continue to, again, shout out Sword Spear. We know why.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these NPCs is we know why they are doing what they are doing. And again, we can look back to the idea of why they're hiding from the cult.
Yep.
And everything they're going to do
very
is
clear.
There
we go.
Make sure that keeps happening. But the idea of a vampire being in a school for a number of years to say, oh, you know, so-and-so is capable of this now. I leave the school in their capable hands. I have other things that I need to attend to or I need to go back to.
Right.
And just go to the next town.
Yeah. And start a school there and teach their children. Like, what a good, you know, day job kind of scheme for a vampire that you really just don't think of. Because you're inside all day, right? You're teaching. So you're in a schoolhouse. Also, I like that they specifically brought the materials to build the schoolhouse with them so they could build it to the specs, make sure there are no like sunlight patches that are going to hit them or whatever. Like they basically brought their own sanctuary with them.
Yeah.
So clever.
Yeah. And the other idea of like the available quests or the available storylines or short or campaign wise or all of these things is it that they've been there long enough that they do have some sort of emotional attachment to these children or the city itself? Or is it something where you have the players are starting to get more involved, more aware, and there's just there's steps that the vampire can no longer take to make it so that the players don't know. But then they realize like, okay, well, you know, these moral obligations of like, do we kill this?
Yeah.
Not really doing anything bad.
Yeah. They're actually kind of doing something really good. Like, you know, using their resources and, you know, infamy to help.
Oh, and you definitely have them give enough information that the players destroy the cult.
Yeah. Oh, and then they could be free. But then, will that make them return to vampiric base ways or...
No,
who knows?
Just keep being in charge of the school forever.
I mean, yeah. I mean, at that point, yeah. Like, as long as we were cool with it, like, man, yeah. These stories of immortality, immortal creatures, I always love them because I'm like, what do you do with that? And this is a really cool and novel take that I haven't thought of before. Great job, Sword Spear. I had my bonus. Entry that I need to call out. Another long-time success story on the show. We see a lot from Letter Lost here, but I just have to call out that they made a kobold who is the guard captain of the militia called Swole Toes, which is just a fantastic name. And I just need to read the first sentence on You Do You, which is some years ago, Swole Toes, Sweet Teeth, and Swish Tail were the personal attendants of a dragon before coming to the village. And now they're just basically here. And I'm like, 3 great names. I immediately know everything I need to know about these kobolds. And fantastic. From one kobold to another. Love this.
And in their final form, they're in a trench coat.
Yeah, of course. They must be. So I had to, of course, shout that out. Swole Toes. What a cutie little name.
Well, perfect. But that means you and I need to quickly lift the mental weights right now.
Lifting weights is what I do. Look at me. Lift these weights.
So I had a thought immediately because there's the Starfall Mountains, like right there to the east. So immediately my whole brain went to like, what star fell there and what weird individual might have fallen with that star or is coming to like research and examine it. So my first instincts were like, one, have an eccentric, astronomer who falls like comes to this area and it just has a weird tower and is like studying what's going on. Or the other idea was like some kind of Azamar or like fallen celestial being that doesn't really remember why they were here or what, but they were brought down by this star or potentially like even mined out after landing there, and having something like that, something partially angelic or celestial and like in this tiny little town trying to recover itself, could both be pretty compelling stories.
I like it. Why not both? That's
Why
Neil's
not
approach.
Both.
So what if it isn't? My brain was like, don't say ASMR, and then all I could think was don't say ASMR. I was like, that's not it. But so you have this character that's fallen.
Yeah.
They don't know more than that.
Yeah.
But then now, you always get into these weird things where it's like, but I still have skills.
Yeah.
But what if they're trying to figure out how to get back?
Yeah. So they're studying. Yeah.
But also not knowing where they came from in the first place. So then they are setting up all of these things. But what if there's, for whatever reason, it's like inhospitable to them to go back to the Starfall Mountains. So they have to do everything at a distance. And they see in the PCs someone that could go do the work that they can't.
Yeah.
And they also can't convince anyone else to do. It's really helpful for the town. I mean, because you're talking about like, is it potions? Is it a little bit of magic? It's a little bit of just, science, help elevate the town itself.
Ooh, it'd be fun if they like had divination magic. So they do like astrology like for the town, right? And they're constantly like, no. Well, what I'm actually here to study is, and they don't care. Read my palm. And it's like, okay, star charts for you,
Or just being really good at saying like, no, we shouldn't plant over there.
Yeah.
We should move the field to here. Or no, we should switch this. Or no, the rains aren't coming. We need to do so. Like, being super helpful. Just knowledge, but it's also, I don't know, the nuance of the character of like, again, their guiding light is trying to figure out how to get back.
Yeah.
Like, having all the knowledge that like, that's what they're touted for. Like they're so smart, but also that's all they seek is like, I don't have the knowledge I want though.
Yeah, like this is, I'm cursed with this knowledge of your life and your history and everything, but all I crave, all I want in this world is answers about myself.
That one thing that I don't know.
This would be cool because it'd be really easy to get PCs to go here, right? Like if, there's this fortune teller or this seer, like who is in this small town and has built their tower here for some reason. Like you must get your answers there. And when you show up, it's someone terribly practical. Like, I'll do whatever you want if you go to the mountains and retrieve this thing that I can't get near. Like, please, I just want to get out of here, right?
Well, I think about the other thing is what if we progress forward also the vampire scenario to say, hey, if you really want to go somewhere with this deep knowledge, and what if that's also like they, working with, what if they have to keep wiping the mind of the Azamir because they keep getting too close to like they keep going to the person for knowledge.
And just resetting oh my God, and they've just been here for so long and they don't know it. Oh, tragedy.
Yep.
That's tragic.
Like, they got too close. Womp. Oh,
womp womp.
So
no.
Yeah. So there we go. I did what's a you to you?
What if it's something like really bad? Like they think they're like a celestial or an angel or whatever, but it's really that they're something that's maybe part of like a hive mind colony. So they might be like a secret, something like a mind flayer or like a Gith or something. Like they feel compelled to return to like the space, above, because they think that they have like a good divine reason to do that, but they've really just been cut off from something terrible that waits up there. And that's just setting up, a monstrous transformation. Once they learn themselves, they'll figure out that they were really just here not to get back, but to conquer and destroy. Ooh, that'd be horrible.
And the only thing that has saved them this far is being close enough to what brought them here. And because they're unwilling to move away from it because they want to learn about it, it's also the only thing that's keeping them safe.
It's an amnesia that, tortures them, but keeps us safe, right, as it happened. That's why they can't get closer. Ooh, so tragic. We're in a tragic mood tonight.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Every once in a while, a little gothic horror.
But I think we've done it once again. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode or any of the other ones you've heard, head over to your podcatcher of choice. As always, it's someone in a coveralls with a giant net catching them for you. And leave us a rating and review. And of course, if you want to email us, you can always email us about the NPCs that you've been creating at dungeonmastersblock@gmail.com. And of course, even better is heading over to our Discord, which you can get to in the show notes. That way you can add your NPCs and go on this Dayeimbe march with us.
Yes, yes. And of course, also, if you want to find us on socials, you can always do so by looking up DMs_block or Neil at Jotmaniac, me at C. Conowitch. For everything else on the network, check out blockpartypodcastnetwork.com. And also, as always, a huge thank you to the bards over on Bombarded for our intro and outro music. You can find out more about Bombarded at bombardedcast.com.
So rather than let these mental gains go to waste, let's head to taking your supplement.
Taking your supplement.
Celeste,
Yeah.
weave me a tale about this latest supplement that we would like to talk about.
Yes, so I come to you talking about a brand new game that, sorry, Kobold Press is funding. I know I'm biased, but this one is very cool because this is the first time ever Kobold Press is producing like a non-fantasy, hardcore sort of like RPG in the tradition of something like D&D. So right now, live on BackerKit for about 20 more days, as of this recording on 4/10/2025, you can go and back Riverbank, which is a brand new role-playing game, a cozy RPG of elegant animals, cozy chaos, and whimsy. So essentially you get to play animals in this world where you're dealing with social niceties and the strange graces of all of that in sort of a high society. So it's written by and made by Kij Johnson, who wrote a few years ago, pretty famous for like her feminist sequel that came out after, following on The Wind in the Willows, that tradition there. So Riverbank was a big popular book that she wrote, and she has now returned with that concept for a new RPG, which is, it's really great, you guys. It's cozy. You pick animals that you get to play, and most of the disasters, and encounters that you're dealing with are, oh no, a relative is coming to visit. Like, I need to write a letter to persuade them not to come along for tea today, or like running and orchestrating high society tea parties. Cozy up in a world of whimsy, elegant animals, curious quests, tea, poetry, total disaster. Just some of the taglines for this brand new RPG we're doing. And I think in these strange times, cozy RPGs are really speaking to me these days. So I hope they will to you too. There's a lot of really cool stuff, even some like custom teas, like tea blends, specifically designed to go with the book right now. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's got the really whimsical, cool art style, a lot of between times and haphazardry cards to like throw at your players to make these elegant disasters for you all to resolve. But really, really can't recommend it enough. I think you should check it out. It's live right now on BackerKit. So again, you got a few weeks to check it out, but it'll be over in a flash. So please do check out Riverbank. See if you like it. Get it for someone you know who might love Robin Hood, by the way. Disney. Oh, perfect. It all circles back together, but can't recommend it enough.
Speaking of Disney movies, it also makes me think a lot of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yes.
Super strong vibes on that.
I believe those were based on characters from The Wind and the Willows.
Aha!
Aha!
So the circle continues. The other thing that, and I always espouse this idea, but reading another RPG is definitely helpful because D&D is not built to do everything. It is built to try and accommodate everything, but it is not specifically built to do everything. So if you were to have more political intrigue, or you were to have more
social encounters, yes.
This is a great way to have mechanics and codify that sort of game. Boom. You don't have to be. Mm-hmm. You can be anthropomorphic animals running around and having tea. But again, this is going to give a lot of really good ideas about how to approach those sorts of scenarios, because I'm not great at them, especially when
they're complicated. And I mean, one of one of the tags on here, you know, it's rules mechanics to weave farcical or dramatic tales of elegant characters celebrating friendship, navigating social niceties, and weathering unique dynamics of, being an anthropomorphic animal, which many of the species or lineages in D&D are. So highly relevant. And these are absolutely, the kind of RPGs you should read if your characters tend to want to talk to everyone, make friends, or play those little intrigue games. Like, really, really, really helpful stuff.
All it takes is the right party, and you're already there, because you had a Heron-Gon, a Grung, a Tabaxi, a Kinku, like and they just play the classic 4: fighter, cleric, mage, rogue.
Or you're playing, something like Tales of the Valiant. It's like a 5e edition. There's a lineage called Beastkin where you can be any kind of animal you want. Essentially, it gives you that rules. There are plenty of examples of this. Your bird people. It's a lot. So this is very attractive to a lot of players, and certainly something the modern GM should be looking out for.
Well, perfect. There will be a link in the show notes. But with that, as always, we're going to we'll turn out the lights and head out of the gym.
Before we go, I want to implore you, the listener, to join the forums, the Discord, and anywhere else you can find us and take part in these challenges, exercises, and other amazing conversations being had.
And to do that, head over to bit.ly/DM banter and try some DM-Nastics. Your players don't ask, do you even lift?